You've seen them, right? Those online systems that promise you the world practically overnight. Well, today, we're taking a hard look at one that's been making some serious noise. It's called the Affiliate Whisperer. It makes some pretty spectacular promises. But do they actually hold up in the real world? Let's dig in and find out. And we're kicking it off with the big one, right from their sales page. I mean, the language here is something else. It doesn't just say it'll help you. It says it turns nobodies into instant successes. That's not just a promise of success, it's a promise of an immediate, almost magical transformation. A claim that big has to have a number attached to it, doesn't it? And there it is, $50. It's specific. It's not $1 million, so it feels achievable, right? Especially if you've been struggling to make your first cent online. But making $50 is one thing. The part that really makes you stop and go, wait, what? Is when they say you're going to make it. Yep, within 5 hours. That's not even a full workday. From a dead stop. And that is the hook. A real amount of money in a shockingly short amount of time. So, how are they packaging this dream? So, here's how we're going to break this all down. We're going to start with that irresistible promise and the so-called proof they offer. Then, we'll crack it open and go inside the system itself, uncover all the hidden costs, and finally, stack up the hype against the cold, hard reality. All right, Section 1. The irresistible promise. So what's actually being sold here? Well, what's interesting is they don't call it a course. No. They call it an all-inclusive marketing ecosystem that you just switch on. So what exactly are we switching on? And just look at this list of features. It's designed to silence every single fear a beginner has. A 10-minute setup? Easy. Guaranteed offer approval, which, trust me, is a huge pain point for new affiliates. They say it's handled. Free traffic and leads? Yep, included. And then there's the big one, the one that underlines everything else. Zero hard work. So, Section 2, the faces of success. How on earth do you prove a claim like zero hard work? Well, you show people's faces. The sales page is just flooded with testimonials from supposed beta testers, all designed to make this success feel personal and, totally real. First up, we've got Doug B. He says he made just over $52 in 5 hours. Notice how perfectly that result lines up with the headline promise? Yeah, that's not an accident. It's set up to be the perfect validation. Then comes Stephanie. She says she's pretty new to all this, and bam! 5 sales in a little over an hour. The pace is picking up. You can see what they're doing here, right? They're building this wave of evidence to show that this thing is not only easy, it's fast. And here's the one that really hits you in the feels. Jerome's story. A long struggle, never making a single dollar, and then suddenly, $65. This is aimed right at the heart of anyone who's feeling frustrated and about to give up. And the final knockout punch for proof, the creator's own wallet. This is supposedly a screenshot from Max Gerstenmeyer's account, showing over 180 grand. The message couldn't be clearer. See, the system works so well, it made me rich. Okay, Section 3, inside the ecosystem. We've seen the marketing, we've seen the hype, but now let's look past all that. What are you actually buying? Well, thanks to some really detailed user reviews, we can take a peek inside. So it turns out, this ecosystem is a video course. And the modules look pretty standard for affiliate marketing, finding offers, writing emails, even using some AI. But then you see it, the secret traffic method. Everything, and I mean everything, hinges on this one piece. So what is it? The sales page is so cagey about this. It just says the creator, Max, will personally send traffic. It's intentionally mysterious. But luckily for us, some reviewers who actually bought the product did a little digging. The big secret is a platform called coNX. And here's the really important part. Unlike normal ads where you pay for a click that might be junk, here you pay for a verified lead. That means a real person who has actually opted into your email list. That is a massive difference. So how much does this secret traffic actually cost? Well, one reviewer put her own money on the line to test it. She invested $46 and got 115 verified leads. That works out to be about 40 cents per lead. And get this, her first email to that list had an open rate of over 40%. For anyone in email marketing, you know that's a really solid number. So now we have some real-world data. All right, Section 4, the full funnel. Now, with products like these, the price you see on the front page is rarely the full price. It's just the ticket to get in the door. To understand what you could really end up spending, you have to look at the entire sales funnel. It all starts at less than 20 bucks. But right after you buy, you're hit with the first upsell, automation, for $67. Then another for so-called buyer traffic for $97. Then an AI tool, then resell rights. And the last offer is the big one, personal coaching for almost 400 bucks. So yeah, that little $18 purchase can very quickly turn into a $600 plus investment if you buy everything. And that brings us to section 5, promise versus reality. We've seen the pitch, we've seen the proof, we know how it works, and we know what it costs. Now for the most important part. Let's put the big promises side by side with what it takes to actually run a business like this. Let's start with the biggest claim of all, zero hard work. And honestly, this is the core myth. Every analyst points this out. While the initial setup might be quick and easy, building a real, sustainable business is never, ever zero work. The tool might be simple, but the business of marketing, that's a different story. So what about the guaranteed leads? Look, getting a lead is just step 1. It's a fantastic kickstart, don't get me wrong. But that lead isn't a customer yet. The real work, the part that takes skill, is nurturing that lead, building trust, and convincing them to buy. That part, that's all on you. That skill isn't included in the box. This quote from a digital marketer just hits the nail on the head. He says, the biggest risk isn't that you'll be out 20 bucks. It's the disappointment you'll feel when the reality of the work sets in and the hype fades away. A system like this is just a tool. It can never be a substitute for actually learning the fundamentals of marketing. So, let's wrap this up with a final verdict. What are the pros? Well, you get access to a proven offer without having to beg for approval, and you get an initial traffic boost to get you motivated. That's powerful. But the cons are pretty serious. That instant success is probably short-lived. The zero-work promise is absolutely a myth if you want long-term results. And you're basically building your entire business on someone else's platform. Which leaves us with this one final critical question. Is a tool like this a valuable kickstart to get that first win and build momentum? Or is it really just a risky shortcut that lets you skip over the essential skills you actually need to build a real, lasting business online? The answer to that question really determines if this is a stepping stone for you or a stumbling block.